Hey everyone. So welcome to episode 2 of our podcast. Not sure what happened to the other YouTube channel, but we're starting a new one now, so please subscribe. And yeah, so today's topic is the experience of a woman living in Japan. And of course, we have here Meika.
Hey.
So tell me a little bit, Meika. What can you tell us about the differences between growing up as a woman in Japan versus growing up as a woman in Western culture?
First, I love American TV shows. So like every time I watch like American TV shows, I was like, oh, like that life sounds amazing, you know. When they're at school, they look so, I don't know, free.
Hmm.
Like we have so many rules.
Hmm.
It's not only like, it's not only about women, but we have like so many rules. Like you should tie your hair if your hair reaches to like the shoulder,
Hmm.
or like you need to like you cannot wear makeup, you cannot like shave the nani kore.
Eyebrows?
Yeah,
Not even
you
pluck
cannot do
them?
that.
Like, what if you have a
No,
unibrow?
you cannot do that. No.
But how would they
Even
even know if like you had a unibrow and you just plucked that?
yeah, but you cannot do that. So like so for me I was like, oh, that sounds so like you that sounds like you have so many freedom.
Hmm.
uh if I were to talk about my experience living in Japan as a woman, I would say like first girls are not really expect to study hard or like, get the highest score.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean like because you're a girl, you cannot study, you're not allowed to study. It's not like that. But I've seen like so many female friends told like because you're a girl, even if you don't like studying, you don't need to like push yourself too hard.
Is it because they're expected to like marry a guy that will support them?
Yeah. So that's why we don't need to like have a great career or anything, right?
Hmm.
Because at the end, your husband will like support you financially. So your like a goal is to marry someone who is rich.
Hmm.
So
That's
that's why like even if you like are not smart, that's totally okay like that.
okay. And is there any like training, I guess, to find a rich guy?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Any advice?
I have no idea. But I like in on the other side, men like boys are expected to study very hard,
Hmm.
and then they got. I think they're pressured in a
Hmm.
way. So like if you, I'm an only kid, so I have like a no sibling to like be compared with.
Hmm.
But uh, like when I was at school, only kids are kind of rare, not really common yet. So I have so many friends who have like siblings and girls and boys, and I've seen lots of like contradiction, like saying like uh usually like boys are expected to study a lot, and they're more likely to be smart.
Hmm.
And then girls, of course, there are so many girls who are smart,
Hmm.
right? It's not about genetic. I know, like it's not about like a gender. So
Hmm.
there are so many girls who are smart,
Hmm.
but like if you're not smart, you don't need to like push yourself too hard, something like
Yeah.
that.
All right, and speaking about universities, you went to an all women's university in Nagasaki. And for those of you that don't know a little bit about the history of Nagasaki, is that it was one of the first places that outsiders went during the Edo period. I believe Japan was closed off from any visitors or trade. And then Christian missionaries ended up like being smuggled into Nagasaki to preach. And I believe after that, there were some, after it actually opened up for trade, um, there were some. women, I believe, that decided that the Japanese women need more education, so they decided to open schools there. Right? Let me know if I got that right.
Yeah, yeah. So like American women's usually like women started coming to Nagasaki to build schools after Japan opened the border, and like my university is one of them, and my university was built by American women, very old women, but and they, yeah, as you said, they thought girls education in Japan wasn't enough, so they came here and to and then taught us English and other like like
Sewing.
sewing, and other stuff, and also Christianity,
Mm. And,
because that was like kind of their purpose, right?
mm. And what do you, just out of curiosity, like what kind of Christian stuff do you learn? Do you learn the Bible, prayers, or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
We have Christianity class once a week, and we have chapel. We call it chapel hour.
Mm.
We go to like me. What do you say? Like,
Depends. If you're Catholic, usually we call it mass. If you're Christian, I think you just say service. I mean, well,
mm,
Christians are Catholicism is a part of Christianity, but it split
yeah,
with typically Catholics and Protestants. So
yeah.
Protestants would
Mine
just
is
say service.
Protestant.
Okay. So you would just say
Mm,
you would go to a service.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I go to a service.
Mm.
Yeah, and like it's like that, something like that. It's about Christianity, but like because our university is a girls' university, we are also taught like how to build a career as women,
Mm.
because that's a kind of trend, right?
Mm.
Recently,
Mm.
gender equality, like that.
Mm.
So we got like so many guests, like female guests,
Mm.
who succeeded in their in their career. So like they gave like a advice and stuff, that kind of, yeah.
So it seems like Japanese women are becoming a little bit more westernized. I'm not sure if that's the right word. But typically, the image that I get of Japanese women is that they're a little bit more, I guess, feminine, almost childlike. There's a sense of innocence to them. For example,
Mm,
um, when they laugh, you guys got to pay attention because whenever you see a Japanese woman laugh, typically, not all of them, but typically they'll cover their mouth. It'll be a laugh and they'll cover their mouth. And
right.
I asked about that once. I'm like, why do they do that? And my friend said, oh, because they don't want to like show their teeth and mouth open, like ha 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 ha. They say that's too like masculine, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they run. Yes, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy for pointing out the fact that Japanese women run, but it's not just like a regular run for sports or exercise or anything. So they run when they're late to something. And I typically don't see that in the US. In LA, at least, it's very casual. People wear jeans and a t shirt every day and sneakers. So if I saw someone running, I don't think I would notice it. But in Japan, typically the women go to work in like little business suits or like a dress or a skirt, and they're wearing high heels and they have a little bag usually. And
Hmm.
let me demonstrate. And this is what I see every day in Japan. I see this. They're like,
Yeah, and then
because, yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
the sound.
Because they're running late and they're trying to catch the train. So what do you think about that observation?
Yeah, I really thought that was normal.
Mm,
Like if you're late, you gotta run.
mm,
And I've been realizing that's not like, that's how can I even, what can I say? Like, it's not normal
mm,
for some people,
mm,
right? And so one day I was with a American friend who wears like very like, I don't know, like a pretty and a high heels. And I was like, I was also wearing high heel. And there was one traffic light, which if once it goes, like once it turns red, it's forever. So you gotta cross the street while it's green.
Right.
In Japan, it's blue, but in green. And then,
It's hey guys, it's actually green, but they say blue for some reason.
yeah, blue, but green. Then I saw the red turning like red.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I can run, you know, like I want to cross the street. We're not like late or anything. I just wanted to cross it.
Mm.
And then I was about to run, and then she was like, wait. We don't need to run. Like, I don't run. You don't need to run. And I was like, okay, so that means we're gonna wait for another traffic light to turn green, which is like forever ago, like forever later. And then so that's when I noticed, like, oh, maybe like my way of thinking was like not for to everyone, you know.
And I think most people don't notice it. And most people will probably hear this and think, what the hell are they talking about? But if you guys ever go to Japan, pay attention at the train stations. You're going to see people in dresses and high heels running. Also, you're going to see on bicycles, you know, because everyone walks and they use the train in Japan, or they use the bicycles. You'll see women in dresses and heels riding their bike to work or whatever. And I mean, you might see that in Europe, but I've never seen that in the US.
I also never seen that. Only because I live in a countryside where everyone, you know, drives.
Ah, okay. Well, I see that in Tokyo.
Or transportation.
So we've been talking about the image of Japanese women. So tell me a little bit about Japanese women or Japanese people in general that come to the US and then go back to Japan. Or abroad. Yeah. Anywhere outside.
Yeah. So first, like, it's like a stereotype, but more girls able to speak English than boys. So like we don't. There are not many men who are interested in like other, you know, other countries and stuff. I don't know why, but that's my image first. And I'm one of the people who speak English, but I used to not be able to speak right. So when I couldn't speak English at all, I had an image that like to people who speak English, like they're very different. Like they seem like they know way better about the world than us. And like maybe because of that language, or maybe because they are experienced, I don't know. But it seemed like that's what I thought. And then now, like, I'm becoming like one of them, right? I've been to lots of like other countries, which is not common for Japanese. And then I speak English like this, like fine, like English.
Your English is good.
Thank you. So fine English, which is not really common in Japan as well. Then I got told, like, I don't know, like, you're different. Like, you have international friends and you speak English? That's crazy. Like, that kind of implies that you're amazing, but you are different from others, like other Japanese. And yeah.
I was going to say, so that's a good thing, right?
Good thing. Like, it sounds like a good thing, but I feel like it's both good and bad. Because we have like we share the sense of, I don't know, we have like we share the same, like,
it's a harmony.
I don't know. Yeah. And then when I was told that I seemed like I was different, it kind of hurt me.
Eh?
Yeah, like it's both. It's complicated. Like I'm happy that I'm different from others in a way, but I don't like it at the same time. Like,
Well, I guess you have to make a choice. You're either gonna pursue like your interest in international whatever travel or whatever, or you're gonna be the same. You can't have it both ways. And but
yeah, I know.
I think
And then
I think the benefits outweigh the negatives.
So that's like where I am right now.
Mm.
You know, like at least I need to make choices at some point, but now like I still live in Japan. I've never lived other countries, so I'm not like a perfectly different, you know, completely different from others because I was born and raised here, and I've only lived here. But at the same time, because I speak English, it's kind of like you seem different, you know.
But they don't know that, right? Like when they first meet you, they can't tell that you speak English unless you start speaking in English. Or can they
Yeah, true.
or can they notice there's something different about Meika?
I'm not sure.
I don't think they
Now
can.
I don't. No, I don't know. But like it's so one thing I wanted to tell is that so when I'm like when I'm drinking with my for international friends and like some random Japanese comes to us and like if I'm speaking English, they will assume me as not Japanese because only because I'm speaking English.
Mm.
And then they will ask me like, "Are you Japanese?" And I would say, "Yeah, I'm Japanese."
Yeah.
And then like that. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
Like what? Like how about in America? Like, do you because of the appearance or because of the language, do you assume other people like being some kind like I don't know?
Yeah, actually, yeah. And the funny thing is that I have no problem with it. So I'm Latino, right? My parents are from Mexico. I was born and raised in the US. I speak both English and Spanish. Actually, my English is better than my Spanish. But every once in a while, someone will come up to me and just start talking in Spanish. And I'll just answer them in Spanish. I don't have a problem with it. But for some reason, my family members, I have two sisters along with my mom, right? The women in my family, for some reason, they get very offended. They're like,
Yeah.
why do they think I can't speak English? Do I really look that like Mexican or whatever? I'm like, you are Mexican. Your blood is Mexican. Yeah, you look Mexican. Yeah, but I don't look like I don't speak English. I can look Mexican and still look like I can speak English. We're in America. Why don't they speak to me in English? I'm like, who cares? I mean, at least that's my opinion. Is like, who cares? It was like a 50-50 shot. They chose one, and guess what? You do speak Spanish, so why not reply in Spanish? I always do when somebody assumes that I'm a Spanish speaker. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But one more thing I was going to say is that America is very multicultural. So I typically just assume that people speak English here. If I see an Asian, if I see whatever color, I think, oh yeah, it could be one of us. They could be American because, you know, anyone could either take the citizenship test or be born here or whatever. Basically, anyone can become an American citizen. But I think in Japan, it's very like you're not Japanese unless you have Japanese blood, right?
That's our image at least, yes. Like the fact is not true, but yeah. And I heard like many friends, like international friends who live here told me like because I don't look Japanese, everyone tried to speak to me in English, even though they want to speak Japanese. And like I used to work at the hotel, and you know, like there are so many travelers, not Japanese or Japanese, but like non-Japanese could be just traveling in Japan or
Mm.
could be living here. So like, and then my coworkers are always like, as soon as they see like foreign people, they're like, I gotta speak English, but I cannot speak English like that. And but like my understanding is like if we try to speak in Japanese and they don't understand, we can switch the language into English.
Mm.
But like we at least we have the image that if they don't look Japanese, we need to speak English like that.
And
And
I
then
think-
sometimes it hurts international people, you know.
I think it's a safe bet, to be honest, because I would say English, it's a much more universal language. For example, you're Japanese and you speak English. You've never lived abroad, but you learn it because, well, you learned it at school. But I don't know that many places where people speak Japanese outside of Japan. So I think it's a safe bet. You're probably going to be right 99% of the time if you see a foreigner and you speak to them in English. One more question I have about women's role in Japanese society. I get the sense that it's almost like second-class citizens. For example, I hear they get paid less than men when they go out to izakayas or something with their coworkers. Usually it's the women that have to pour the drinks. Is that a thing, really?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Like for example, okay, like because I don't work yet, I cannot say exactly. But in my family, I think pretty much the same. But so when we have like family gathering, usually men don't move at all. Like they just sit at the table and they just never. Yeah. But so in that way, yeah, we're like women are expected to do everything, like serve the food and then pour the tea, everything. So yeah, I think that's kind of extension, I guess.
Do you find it offensive?
That's a good point. Like I've been living with the family forever. I never knew other family, right? So I kind of assumed that was normal. But once I started learning new things, I've been realizing, yeah, maybe like that's kind of a bit like, I don't know,
chauvinistic,
too traditional. But I think it's, in a way, it's beautiful that like, I really love the culture and I really love the tradition, but I also like understand that that's not equal,
I personally think that being poured tea is just like it's a gesture of kindness. My grandma will serve me food still. My grandma's Mexican, obviously. And still at family parties, she'll serve me a plate. And honestly, like my sister and stuff doesn't like that. She'll be like, he can serve himself. He's a big boy. But my grandma's like, I want to serve him. Let me serve him. It's my choice. So she still likes to do that. And that's fine. If she wants to do that, I'll let her do it.
Yeah, I agree. My grandma is the same. Like she wants to like do so many kind things to us. Like me, or like I'm more like a person who doesn't do much in the house. So like my grandma and mom always like do everything for me, and I feel like I'm a queen.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not sure if it's about like housewife thing or women thing or other stuff, but in my family, I'm like a queen, and my dad and my granddad is like, someone who don't need to move at all. And my mom and grandma do everything for me, for us.
Nice. You're an only child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe Japanese tend to only have like one or two kids, right?
Two is very common.
2 is very common, but more than that is like too much.
Not too much, but
Rare.
it's rare. It's
Mm,
kind of rare. Three, maybe sometimes. Two is very common.
mm,
One, when I was in school, elementary school, it wasn't that common yet. So I was kind of rare
mm.
to be only kid.
Do you
But
like being an only child? Is it lonely?
it's lonely in a way. I remember when I was a kid, like 3, 4, 5 years old, I was like always at home playing by myself with dolls, and I was like talking to myself and then like that. But at the same time, I was really thankful to my mom to be like my real sister, like older sister. So for
Kawaii.
me, yeah, I didn't feel like I was the only kid, but at the same time, I was always jealous about other people saying like, today my old old brother did like this, and we talked about this, that kind of stuff. I never have. So
Mm.
how about you? Your life being having lots of siblings, not lots, but
Well, I have 2 older sisters, and it's fine. I don't have any complaints against them. We get along pretty well. But I did always kind of want a brother, just because I
mm,
wanted to do more boy things. I wanted to wrestle, and I wanted to go outside and climb trees and whatever, right? But I didn't really have
mm,
that. But the good thing was that I'm very extroverted, so I don't care about talking to strangers, and so I made friends with all the kids around my neighborhood. So every
mm,
day I would pretty much go to my neighbor's house, or I like also Mexican families are very open. They're very welcoming. So my cousins would come over all the time. I would spend the night at my cousin's house sometimes. My neighbors would come over. They would spend the night. We would just play video games all night. So even though I didn't have a brother, I kind of had like non blood related brothers.
yeah, I think I was pretty much the same with like kids around my area, like in my area. My mom always took me to the park and like let me meet other kids in the park and then playing. So that's why I became introvert in a way, thanks to my mom. And like some kids just stay inside and you play games all the time. That I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but for me it was good to go out and play with other kids so that I didn't feel lonely.
Yeah, you
And
also
then
develop social skills that way. Hmm. A big part of life, I always tell people, sometimes more important than your skill set is your social skills, because when you're at a workplace or something like that, you're gonna have to get along with these people for maybe the rest of your life, depending on how long you intend to work there. So it's always better to have, I think, a good social skill set rather than work skill set. And
right.
then one more thing I wanted to say was Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Y-
Thanksgiving, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I almost forgot about that topic, but I just remembered. I was like, oh, it just happened this week. And I want to say that I was in Japan the last 2 Thanksgivings. This is the first time I'm in the US in 3 years for Thanksgiving. But the last 2 Thanksgivings, I was in Japan, and I could not find turkey anywhere. Do you guys have turkey in that country?
I'm not sure. I've heard the name Taki in Japan, even in katakana, which is like for alphabet for falling words. But I don't know. I don't think I've seen it in a supermarket before in Japan.
Wow, that's because I was looking everywhere, and the only place that had it were these fancy hotels where you had to pay like I don't know over $100, maybe like $200, um, for a Thanksgiving meal served at the restaurant of the hotel. And I was like, okay, I don't want turkey that bad. I was just wondering if I can get like for
Mm.
example KFC. KFC has Christmas meals. And so I was thinking maybe there's a restaurant that sells something like a Thanksgiving meal, but no, I couldn't find anything. So I actually did end up eating KFC on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we don't have Thanksgiving. So that's why I was wondering what it was when I was watching like American TV shows. It's a very big part of the culture, right? And
Mm,
every time I've seen like I remember when I was watching Full House,
mm.
I was like, what is Kanshasai, like Thanksgiving?
Oh, you guys have
And
a word for it?
yeah, like Kanshasai. Kansha is appreciate and Sai is festival. So
Oh.
Kanshasai. What is Kanshasai? What is Thanksgiving? And they put turkey, and I think they have another name in Japanese name. Hichimencho. I have no idea about. And I was like, what is Hichimencho? I've never seen that part in Japan. What is that? I remember that I was always like wondering what is Thanksgiving.
Okay. But you know what it is now, right?
Yeah, now I do.
Okay. Yeah, I would say to sum it up, it's basically like Christmas without the presents.
Mm,
But even then, Christmas. Oh, I guess we'll get into the topic of Christmas on the next episode because that's a whole other thing. But yeah, that's all
right.
we have time for actually. Did you want to
Mhm.
end with the phrase of the day?
Yeah, hitoriko means only kid. Hitoriko.
Okay, hitoriko.
Hitori means alone, and ko means kid. So literally means only kid. Hitoriko desu.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. As always, comment or write your questions, what you want us to talk about on the next episode in the comment section. And yeah, peace out.
Bye bye.